The research vessel Aurora hung in space like a silver needle against the vast tapestry of stars, its hull gleaming with the soft blue pulse of quantum containment fields. Inside its laboratories, humanity's brightest minds worked to unlock the secrets of cellular regeneration, work that could revolutionize medicine across known space. Dr. Maya Chen watched through reinforced observation windows as automated systems carefully manipulated strands of synthetic DNA, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic displays that surrounded her. 20 years of research had led to this moment, a breakthrough that could end cellular degradation across all known sentient species. Dr. Chen, the ship's AI announced, its voice carefully modulated to avoid startling the scientists at work. Captain Rodriguez requests your presence on the bridge. We have company. Maya's heart skipped a beat as she secured her samples and made her way through the Aurora's pristine white corridors. The ship had been designed to showcase humanity's dedication to healing, its very architecture a testament to the path they'd chosen after the last war had nearly destroyed Earth. They'd turned their military might to peaceful purposes, converting weapon factories to medical research facilities, transforming warships into hospital vessels. The bridge doors slid open silently, revealing a tense scene. Captain Isabella Rodriguez stood at the main viewport, her weathered face illuminated by the harsh light of an approaching vessel. It was massive, easily dwarfing the Aurora, its hull covered in what appeared to be living crystal that pulsed with internal energy. They call themselves the Galactic Empire, Isabella explained without turning. They dropped out of FTL 10 minutes ago and immediately demanded our surrender. They say our research violates their technological sovereignty. Maya stepped forward, studying the alien vessel. Our work could save billions of lives across known space. Surely they must understand. They understand perfectly, Isabella interrupted, finally turning to face her chief researcher. That's exactly what they're afraid of. The Galactic Empire maintains control through technological superiority. Our breakthroughs threaten that control. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a towering figure covered in crystalline scales. Multiple eyes arranged in concentric circles focused on the bridge crew as mandibles clicked in what the universal translator interpreted as speech. I am Archonvex Thor of the Galactic Empire. Your species' insistence on freely sharing medical technology undermines the natural order. Submit your research and surrender your vessel, or face immediate destruction. Captain Rodriguez straightened, her voice steady despite the threat. This is a research vessel, Archon. We carry no weapons. Attacking us would violate every convention of civilized space. The Archon's crystalline scales shifted in what might have been amusement. Conventions exist to protect the strong from the weak's desperation. You have 1 hour to comply. As the transmission ended, Maya turned to her captain. Isabella, the quantum regeneration research, in the wrong hands, it could be weaponized. The same principles that allow us to rebuild damaged tissue could be reversed. I know, Isabella replied softly. That's why we can't let them have it. She turned to her communications officer. Send an encrypted quantum burst to Earth Command. Full situation report, including research data. Then begin evacuation procedures for non-essential personnel. Maya felt cold dread settle in her stomach. You're not actually surrendering. Isabella's smile was grim. No, we're going to show them why Earth chose peace, and why that choice makes us stronger, not weaker. Lieutenant Park, begin Protocol Nightingale. Throughout the ship, hidden systems began to activate. What had appeared to be medical scanners revealed secondary functions. Containment fields designed to isolate pathogens shifted frequency, becoming defensive screens. The Aurora had been built in the shadow of humanity's warlike past, its designers never forgetting that sometimes healing meant standing against those who would do harm. As the massive Galactic vessel moved to firing position, Captain Rodriguez addressed her crew. They think we're weak because we chose to heal rather than harm. They don't understand that the hardest strength isn't in destroying, but in preserving life at any cost. Show them what the children of Earth can do. The Aurora's engines flared to life as humanity prepared to demonstrate that their commitment to peace was not born of weakness, but of wisdom. And that wisdom could be the deadliest weapon of all. The first shots from the Drachnid warship lit up space like artificial stars, crystalline energy beams slicing through the void toward the Aurora. But where they should have found an unprotected research vessel, they instead met sophisticated defensive screens that diffracted the attacks into harmless light. In the ship's primary lab, Maya worked frantically to secure their research data. Running final quantum encryption protocols, she announced over the comm. "Captain, these containment fields weren't designed to handle this kind of stress for long." "Understood." Isabella's voice came back steady, despite another impact rocking the ship. "Earth Command acknowledges our situation. Help is coming, but we need to hold out." The Drachnid vessel launched a second salvo, this time targeting the Aurora's engines. Lieutenant Park's hands flew over his controls, the ship moving with surprising agility for a research vessel. Yet everyone on board knew they couldn't evade forever. "Their weapons are becoming more precise," the ship's AI reported. "They're learning our defensive patterns. Containment field integrity at 67% and falling." Maya rushed to the bridge, clutching the quantum data core to her chest. The scene that greeted her was controlled chaos. Crew members working with practiced efficiency, despite the increasing violence of the attacks. Through the view screen, she could see smaller Drachnid vessels emerging from the larger ship, moving to surround them. "They're launching boarding craft," Lieutenant Park announced, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. "Multiple vectors of approach." Isabella nodded grimly. "They want our research intact. That gives us an advantage." She turned to Maya. "Doctor, remember those medical nanites you've been developing? The ones that were too aggressive for therapeutic use?" Maya's eyes widened as she understood. During their research into cellular regeneration, they'd created several strains of nanomachines that had proven too powerful for safe medical application. They'd been kept in secure storage, deemed too dangerous to destroy but too volatile to use. "Captain, those nanites are experimental. We never completed the control protocols." "Exactly." Isabella's smile was fierce. "Deploy them in the outer corridors. Let's show our visitors why some medical research comes with warning labels." As Maya rushed to implement the captain's orders, the ship's AI reported a new development. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Earth Defense Force vessels emerging from FTL. The view screen shifted to show 3 massive ships materializing from quantum space. Their design was similar to the Aurora's, but where the research vessel was sleek and pristine, these ships bore the unmistakable signs of their military heritage. Humanity had turned away from war, but they had never forgotten how to fight. "This is Admiral Chen of the EDF Restoration." A new voice filled the bridge. "Aurora, hold position. We'll handle this." The Drachnid vessels reacted immediately, their crystalline hulls blazing with weapon fire. But the Earth ships moved with practiced coordination, their own defensive screens flaring as they absorbed the attacks. Their response was measured, precision strikes that disabled rather than destroyed, targeting weapons and engines while avoiding critical systems. "Interesting tactics," the ship's eye observed. "They're using modified medical scanners to identify vulnerable points in the Drachnid ship's crystalline structure." Maya watched in amazement as humanity's defensive forces demonstrated exactly why their medical technology was so feared. The same precision that allowed them to heal at a cellular level let them disable enemy systems with surgical accuracy. It was a display of power that came not from destructive capability, but from intimate understanding of how things lived and functioned. "Drachnid vessels are powering down," Lieutenant Park reported. "Their boarding craft are retreating." On the main screen, Archonvex Thor appeared again, his crystalline scales dulled with what might have been shock. "Impossible. You are a medical research species. Your ships carry no weapons." "We carry no weapons because we choose not to," Isabella replied calmly. "That choice wasn't made from weakness, Archon. It came from understanding that the power to heal can be far more profound than the power to destroy. Would you like a demonstration of exactly how profound? As if in answer, alerts blared through the Drachnid ship. The experimental nanites Maya had released into their boarding craft had begun their work, systematically disassembling non-organic materials at the molecular level. The crystalline technology that the Drachnid Empire had relied on for millennia was being unmade by machines designed to reconstruct damaged human cells. Perhaps, Isabella continued, we should discuss a different kind of exchange. One where we share our medical knowledge freely, as equals, rather than having it taken by force. After all, healing works best when both parties are willing participants. The weight of Earth's history, both its warlike past and its chosen path of peace, hung in the space between the vessels. The Drachnid Empire had thought they'd found an easy target, a species that had grown soft through their dedication to healing. Instead, they'd discovered why humanity's choice to turn away from weapons had been made from wisdom rather than weakness. In the silence that followed, Maya realized they'd done more than defend a single research vessel. They'd demonstrated that humanity's path forward, their commitment to healing and sharing knowledge freely, wasn't just morally right. It was also the most powerful stance they could take among the stars. The quantum communications array aboard the Aurora lit up with urgent transmissions from across human space. The Drachnid Empire, embarrassed by their defeat at the hands of a medical species, had launched simultaneous attacks on multiple human research outposts and colonies. They're targeting our medical infrastructure, Admiral Chen's hologram reported grimly. Civilian hospitals, research stations, pharmaceutical production facilities. They're trying to force us back to a more conventional military stance. Captain Rodriguez stood at the bridge's tactical display, watching as red indicators bloomed across the map of human space. They still don't understand. How many casualties? Minimal, the Admiral replied, allowing himself a small smile. It seems our policy of incorporating defensive capabilities into medical facilities wasn't as paranoid as some critics claimed. But we're stretched thin. We need the Aurora's help. Maya, who had been analyzing data from their encounter with the Drachnid boarding parties, stepped forward. The nanites we deployed. I think I understand why they were so effective. The Drachnid's crystalline technology. It's not just their ships. It's part of them. The bridge crew turned to her as she brought up detailed scans on the main display. Their technological and biological systems are intertwined. The crystalline structures we saw aren't just armor or weapons. They're cybernetic enhancements that have been part of their species for generations. Which means, Isabella concluded, their entire empire is vulnerable to our medical technology. Not just their ships, but their infrastructure, their communication systems, maybe even their augmentations. Admiral Chen's hologram flickered as another transmission came through, this one from Earth Command. The Drachnid fleet is massing at these coordinates. Intelligence suggests they're preparing for a full-scale assault on Earth itself. They believe if they can strike at humanity's heart, we'll be forced to abandon our dangerous medical research. Isabella shared a look with Maya before responding. They're about to learn why Earth chose peace. Send the coordinates. The Aurora will join the defense fleet. As the research vessel prepared to jump to quantum space, Maya and her team worked to modify their regenerative technology. What had been designed to heal human tissue was carefully reprogrammed to interface with crystalline structures instead. The same principles that could rebuild damaged cells could also be used to influence the cybernetic systems the Drachnid relied upon. Multiple Drachnid vessels dropping out of FTL, Lieutenant Park announced as they arrived at the designated coordinates. Count is 70+ capital ships. They're deploying in attack formation. The sight would have been terrifying if not for what emerged to meet them. From Earth's orbital platforms came humanity's response. Not the warships of old, but a new kind of defensive fleet. Hospital ships converted to carry defensive screens instead of weapons. Research vessels whose medical sensors could map every weakness in an enemy's defenses. And at their center, the massive form of the EDF Asclepius, Earth's first purpose-built medical defense vessel. This is Admiral Sarah Chen to all Earth vessels. The transmission carried across all frequencies. The Galactic Empire believes that our dedication to healing makes us vulnerable. Today, we show them the true power of life over death. Deploy medical countermeasures. Protect our people. The Aurora took its position in the fleet as the Galactic Armada approached. Their crystalline ships filled space with deadly energy, but they found their targets surprisingly resilient. Humanity had learned to heal faster than they could be hurt. Maya watched from her station as the battle unfolded. The Galactic weapons were devastating, but Earth's ships moved with precise coordination, their defensive screens working in concert to distribute and dissipate the energy of each attack. Where Galactic boarding parties managed to breach a hull, they found corridors filled with reprogrammed medical nanites that could disable their cybernetic systems without harming organic tissue. They're pushing through Sector 7, Park reported. 3 research stations in danger. Not for long, Isabella responded. Dr. Chen, initiate protocol Hippocrates. Maya's fingers flew across her console, activating the modified regeneration technology they'd prepared. Beams of energy shot from the Aurora's medical emitters, but instead of healing, they began to influence the crystalline structures of the nearest Galactic vessels. Systems that had been cybernetically linked for generations began to respond to human medical protocols. Across the battlefield, other Earth vessels deployed similar countermeasures. The Galactic fleet found their carefully coordinated attack falling into disarray as their own technology began to resist their commands. Ships designed to destroy were instead compelled by human medical technology to preserve life, including their own. Fascinating, the ship's AI commented. Their crystalline technology appears to be developing an immune response to their own destructive commands. It's as if we introduced an evolutionary imperative toward healing into their systems. In the space between the fleets, humanity's choice to focus on medical technology was proving to be more powerful than any traditional weapons system. They hadn't just developed better ways to heal, they'd gained an understanding of life itself that made them formidable in ways the Galactic Empire had never imagined. Archon Vexthor's flagship hung at the center of the chaos, its crystalline surface now pulsing with an unfamiliar rhythm. The modified medical nanites had spread throughout the Galactic fleet, creating a network of influenced systems that responded to human medical protocols. But victory wasn't as simple as disabling their attackers. Multiple distress signals detected. Lieutenant Park reported, his voice tight with concern. The nanite modifications are causing unexpected reactions in the Galactic crew's cybernetic implants. Maya's hands flew across her console as she analyzed the incoming data. Their augmentations are so deeply integrated with their biology. We're not just affecting their ships, we're influencing their bodies. If we don't stabilize them soon, we'll do what we've always done, Isabella interrupted firmly. We'll heal them. All Earth vessels. This is Captain Rodriguez. Cease offensive operations. Switch all medical systems to preservation protocols. Admiral Chen's voice came through the comm. Captain, the Galactic fleet still poses a significant threat. We can't just. They're patients now, Isabella cut in. And we don't abandon patients, no matter who they are. Dr. Chen, prepare your team for emergency intervention. The Aurora's medical bays, designed for research but equipped for crisis response, burst into activity. Maya coordinated with medical teams across the human fleet, adapting their regenerative technology in real time to address the unique challenges of Galactic physiology. Their crystalline augmentations, she explained to the fleet's medical channel. They're not just technology. They're symbiotic organisms, cultivated over generations to enhance Galactic capabilities. Our nanites didn't just disable them. They triggered an evolutionary response. Through the view screen, they watched as the Galactic ship's crystalline surfaces began to change. The aggressive angles and weapon ports were smoothing out, replacing destructive capability with more efficient life support systems. The Empire's military technology was adapting, evolving toward preservation rather than destruction. Incoming transmission from the Archon's vessel, Park announced. There, requesting medical assistance. The image that appeared on the main screen showed a changed Vexthor. The Archon's crystalline scales had taken on an organic fluidity, and the multiple eyes that had once displayed only cold calculation now showed something close to wonder. "What have you done to us?" The Archon's voice carried none of its former arrogance. "Our systems, our very bodies, they're transforming." Isabella stepped forward. "We introduced the concept of healing to technology that had only known how to harm. Your crystalline systems are evolving, choosing to preserve life rather than end it. The question is, will you evolve with them?" "You could have destroyed us," Vexthor observed. "When you discovered how vulnerable our cybernetic systems were to your medical technology, you could have shut them down completely." "That's not who we are," Maya replied, joining Isabella at the view screen. "Humanity learned long ago that the hardest path is often the right one. We chose to heal rather than harm, to defend rather than destroy. Not because we couldn't fight, but because we found a better way." Across the battlefield, Earth's hospital ships moved among the Drachnid vessels, extending medical aid to those whose cybernetic systems were undergoing rapid evolution. Human medical teams worked alongside Drachnid engineers, helping them understand and adapt to the changes in their technology. "Your medical knowledge," Vexthor said slowly, "the reason we feared it. We were right to be afraid, but for the wrong reasons. We thought you would use it to destroy us. Instead, you've shown us a new path." The Aurora's sensors detected more Drachnid ships arriving at the edge of the system, but these newcomers made no aggressive moves. They watched as their fellows were transformed, as the Empire's military might was reshaped into something new by the very technology they had sought to suppress. "We're receiving requests for medical assistance from Drachnid worlds across 3 sectors," Park reported. "Their colonies are reporting similar evolutionary responses in their crystalline infrastructure." Isabella turned to Maya. "It seems your research into cellular regeneration had applications we never imagined, ready to help an entire civilization evolve." Maya smiled, already coordinating with her research team. "That's why we're out here, isn't it? To help wherever we can, however we can." As the combined fleets of Earth and the Drachnid Empire began working together, humanity's choice to pursue healing over harm was vindicated in a way no one had expected. They had not just defended themselves, they had shown an aggressive species a different way to exist among the stars. In the medical bay, Maya watched as human doctors worked alongside Drachnid engineers, their former enemies now eager to understand the principles that had transformed their technology. The crystalline structures that had once powered weapons now pulsed with the rhythm of healing, a visible symbol of change. "Perhaps," she mused, "this is what evolution really looks like. Not the survival of the strongest, but the triumph of those who choose to preserve life, even in the face of destruction." 1 month after the confrontation that had nearly led to war, the Aurora hovered in high orbit above the Drachnid homeworld. The crystalline planet below bore little resemblance to the militant empire that had threatened human space just weeks ago. Where weapon platforms had once bristled from orbital stations, medical research facilities now gleamed in the light of twin suns. Maya stood in the observation lounge, watching as shuttles carried human medical teams to and from the surface. "Sometimes I still can't believe how quickly they adapted," she said to Captain Rodriguez, who had joined her at the window. "They didn't have much choice," Isabella replied, her reflection smiling in the reinforced glass. "Once their crystalline technology began evolving toward preservation, their entire society had to change with it, though I don't think anyone expected them to embrace the transformation so completely." The ship's AI interrupted with an incoming transmission. "Priority message from the surface. The Archon is ready to begin the final integration procedure." In the month since the battle, Maya and her team had worked closely with Drachnid scientists to understand the full implications of their transformed technology. The crystalline structures that had once formed the backbone of their military might now showed remarkable potential for medical applications. "All medical teams report ready," Lieutenant Park announced as they entered the bridge. The Drachnid Central Hospital is standing by. On the main screen, Archon Vex Thor appeared. The leader's appearance had changed dramatically. The aggressive crystalline armor now flowing like liquid glass, reflecting not just light, but the vital signs of those around him. Dr. Chen, Captain Rodriguez, we are prepared to proceed. Today, we take the final step in our evolution. The procedure they were about to attempt would permanently alter the course of Drachnid civilization. By fully integrating human medical principles with their crystalline technology, they would transform their species' cybernetic augmentations from tools of war into instruments of healing. Beginning transmission of medical protocols, Maya announced, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. Crystalline response patterns are stable. Integration proceeding as expected. Across the planet below, billions of Drachnid watched as their technology responded to the new programming. The crystalline structures that had been part of their society for millennia shifted and changed, their very nature transforming from destructive to regenerative. Remarkable, the ship's AI commented. The crystalline networks are exhibiting signs of distributed consciousness. They're not just accepting the medical protocols, they're improving upon them. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge. We're detecting similar transformations across all Drachnid territories. Their entire infrastructure is evolving in parallel. The changes are more extensive than we anticipated. Maya studied the incoming data with growing excitement. The crystalline systems aren't just changing their function, they're changing their purpose. The same networks they once used to coordinate military strikes are now sharing medical knowledge across light years instantly. Through the view screen, they watched as the surface of the Drachnid homeworld began to glow with new purpose. Crystal spires that had once housed weapon research now pulsed with healing energy, their technology finally achieving its true potential. Your people have given us more than just medical knowledge, Vex Thor said, his voice carrying genuine emotion. You've shown us that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to preserve. The Drachnid Empire will never again be known for its military might. Instead, we will be remembered for our healing arts. Isabella stepped forward. And humanity will stand with you as allies and partners in that endeavor. There are still many worlds in need of healing, many species who could benefit from our combined knowledge. Perhaps, Maya added, this is what first contact should always be about. Not measuring strength through conflict, but sharing wisdom to make all of us better. The final phase of integration completed, and a new era began. The Drachnid, whose very biology had been shaped by centuries of military focus, found themselves transformed into natural healers. Their crystalline technology, once feared across the galaxy, now became sought after for its remarkable medical capabilities. The Aurora's mission had changed as well. No longer just a research vessel, it became a symbol of the partnership between humans and Drachnid, carrying the combined medical knowledge of both species to the farthest reaches of known space. As they prepared to depart for their next mission, Isabella gathered her crew for one final observation. They thought our dedication to healing made us weak, she said, watching the transformed Drachnid world below. Instead, it made us strong enough to change an empire without firing a shot. Remember that, when anyone questions why humanity chose this path. Maya smiled, already planning the next phase of their research. The merger of human medical science with Drachnid crystalline technology had opened up possibilities they were only beginning to understand. We chose to heal, she said quietly, and in doing so, we healed more than just bodies. We healed the future itself. As the Aurora engaged its quantum drive, preparing to carry its message of healing to new worlds, the transformed Drachnid Empire stood as a testament to humanity's greatest victory. Not one won through force of arms, but through the power of choosing to preserve life rather than take it. In the end, that choice had proven more powerful than any weapon ever created.